Hey, small business people and lovers of good stories in general. Welcome to episode 32 of Small Business War Stories. This episode was taped in Columbus, Ohio, and it came about in a somewhat serendipitous way. I was playing my guitar at an open mic in Columbus, Ohio, and I was singing some of my songs, and there was a guy who was shooting photos of everybody there. And everybody, all the musicians seemed to know him. And I struck a conversation with him, and it turns out that he is a music photographer. And I talked to him a little bit, and then we agreed to tape an episode the next morning. And it was great to hear his story. He's relatively young, and he's been really successful already. But he's starting to build a great portfolio. And it's really great to see him basically carving his own path as an artist and as a business person. This episode is a part of the Soul of America tour, and the Soul of America tour is brought to you by Tecovas Boots. If you're tired of paying $700 for handcrafted boots, the new industry standard is Tecovas, and what they do is they actually take out the middleman. So you can, instead of going to a store, you can order them directly. They have a great return policy, and they look great, they feel great. I wore them every single day of the Soul of America tour. You can find them at tecovasboots.com. That's TECOVAS boots.com. And the episode is also brought to you by Impact Crates. Impact Crates are safety dog crates. My puppy Muddy Waggers traveled in one every single day of the Soul of America tour. They are collapsible crates, and they're a great solution for owners with an active lifestyle, people who get out and are and about. They, they're very easy to transport, and I highly, highly recommend them. If you use code MUDDY20, MUDDY20, you will get 20% off your Impact Crate. Check them out. And the Soul of America tour is also brought to you by Badger Mapping. Badger is the #1 app for field salespeople in the Apple App Store. People call it the secret weapon for top sales teams. And the reason for that is it allows you to map and figure out where you're going to go next. If you are a salesperson that spends a lot of time on the road or manage people who do that, it's very useful. I use it personally to figure out the best route for the Soul of America tour, and it was very effective. Badger Mapping, if you tell them you found out about them on Small Business War Stories, they will give you 2 free months. And every episode of the Small Business War Stories podcast is brought to you by Proven. Proven.com, Proven.com, is a company I started with my business partner, Sean, and we are a leading small business hiring tool. We know small business. That's a big differentiator, is our customers, our small businesses. We understand your challenges. So check it out. We can distribute your job to over 100 job boards, and thousands of small businesses currently use Proven. You should check it out. There is a free trial at www.proven.com. Without further ado, there you go. Let's get into the episode. Episode number 32 of Small Business War Stories with Dan Mitchell of Mitchell Multimedia. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes. And we are live here in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. And today I have the pleasure of sitting here with Dan Mitchell of Mitchell Multimedia. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's great to be here. We're in the middle of the Soul of America tour here, heading southbound. And it's great. I met you last night at an open mic, and you were shooting photography there of some of the musicians, right?
Yes, I was at a local open mic shooting some photos for some musicians in town it's a regular place I go to every week.
Awesome. So you have a photography and multimedia business. So I'd love maybe to hear directly from you. How do you think about your business? What do you do, and what inspired you to start this?
So, what inspired me to do this? I was in high school. I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, and originally I wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
And so I went to a community college to really figure out what I wanted to do without spending that much money.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have that kind of reservation going to college because it's so much money now.
It is expensive.
that the community college route is very, very affordable, and also you can kind of figure out what you want to do. So I still wanted to be a teacher. I had a couple friends that were musicians. I was a musician as well.
Oh, cool.
I played trumpet in high school, but I kind of like stepped away from music for a while. Once I graduated high school, I got into college. I was busy with schoolwork. My friends started playing open mics, and I started going with him, and he wanted me to, support him as much as I could. And I figured, I'm going to just take pictures with my cell phone, here or there, take some video, upload it to YouTube, Facebook, social media, just help him out as much as I could.
Sure.
Well, and then after amount of time, my friend that was a musician, he was having somebody market for him, so do his band advertisement, and they needed content. They needed content like video, photos, that kind of stuff for their social media. And once I took a video of him playing at an open mic, local open mic in Columbus, and he had a great performance. I got a great video of him. It was just with my cell phone. The next day I posted it on YouTube. I got a call from his marketing agent, and she's saying that, do you want to make money doing this? And
That's awesome.
she really liked the video I got for him.
Yeah.
And
well, you have a great eye. I mean, you were showing me some of your
yeah.
stuff yesterday, and you have a tremendous ability, I would say, to capture. Do you focus mostly on music now?
Yes, actually, yes. I focus mostly on music. That's how I kind of got into this. So I kind of like, pay it forward. I still, follow my music.
Yeah, because I would say that you have a really unique ability to capture people's spirit when they're on stage, right? So I saw some of your photos, and they're really, really good.
Well, thanks, man.
So I'm sure that's what
you.
came through. And one of the things, I do, a little bit of amateur photography myself, and one of the things that, as a photographer, you hear when you shoot a good photo, they're like, "Oh, you must have a really nice camera," right?
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, which is when you put time and thought into the craft of photography, you kind of have to roll your eyes a little bit, be like, well, there's a lot of work that went into that. So you're kind of showing that you can use an iPhone to do spectacular product.
And the cameras I have now, it took me a while to build up to that point. But
Sure.
we'll get into that if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, well, let's talk about
Okay,
that. So,
yeah.
How do you go from shooting a video at a concert with your phone to now having a full-blown business where you're getting paid? You were going to South by Southwest. You're getting to meet all kinds of different interesting people. How is it what's that progression? And you've been doing this for 3 years, right?
3+ years, yeah. So that's a big question.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was talking about how I was shooting pictures and video for my friend, going to open mics regularly. It kind of got to the point where I was getting asked by other musicians to take photos of them.
Okay.
And so that kind of sparked I'm showing up more and more now. People are recognizing me and my work. And, I'm posting on Facebook. At this time, I started my own page. This was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
And I would go to open mic, shoot some pictures for fun. I wasn't charging anything. I didn't even start my business yet. So I was kind of like just building that foundation, of local musicians, trying to get my name out there, trying to, face to a name, that
Sure.
whole thing.
Yep.
And, have people recognize my work. So after a bit of time, I got a really great following of people wanting me to shoot for them at open mic.
Yeah.
That it kind of translated into, not only did it help me out, it helped like the venues I was shooting at.
Yeah.
If they were like promoting their open mic,
Yeah.
they had photos to promote their open mic.
Awesome.
And back then, like I said, I wasn't really charging or anything, so it
Yeah.
kind of got to the point where people were starting bands,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Hey, do you do a photo shoot? Do you do
Yeah.
a photo shoot for this amount of money?" And it's like, well, actually, I don't. I'm not in business yet, but I mean, we can.
But
talk.
now you make money with this.
So now I make money. So in August of 2014, I left my advertisement job.
Yeah.
And I decided, hey, you know what? I have all these great contacts, and I knew when I quit my other job, it took a while to get my client base,
Yeah.
paying clients,
Sure.
because people were used to not paying me for free. So it's just like transitioning to that, hey, I'm a service now. And if you would like photos, I mean, I'm not going to say, I'm not going to get upset if you say, no, we don't want photos for our show. So I kind of worked into going to shows. I was still shooting for free, but I was going to shows and meeting more bands because not everybody in the band will go to an open mic.
So maybe it's kind of like have a little taste. Like I just shot a photo of you on stage, but then would you like a press kit and then you charge them for that?
Exactly. So I would charge for like a press kit. I would charge for like a group of photos. And then it kind of got to the point where I met all these bands. I would go to festivals. And I would just shoot bands for fun. And a lot of times the bands just really, really loved the photos. And so I kind of built that relationship from the beginning.
That's amazing.
And
I'm scared now because you shot a picture of me last night when I was on stage singing. So maybe now, I'm going to pay you for a bunch more photos.
No. The thing is, I used to go to a lot more open mics. Like I used to go to I would go out Monday through Thursday. And after a time when I started my business, it was, like I said, it was a great way to meet other musicians, get my name out there. And after I started my business, now it's coming on 3 years. It's like I can't really go out every single night to open mic. I'll go probably maybe once a week, and I will rotate it through different open mics in Columbus. Columbus has tons of open mics. And I'm just trying to reach as many people still. But not the frequency that I used to do.
Makes sense. Because you have a job to do.
Exactly. I mean, it's the editing time now. And not only that I'm still doing the open mic. I mean, I'll go to an open mic maybe twice a month now.
Wow, I got lucky yesterday.
Yes, so last night was kind of a fluke because I usually don't go out on Wednesdays because I shoot shows Thursday through Sunday.
Got it.
And Wednesday's kind of like my breather day before the long weekend.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I would love to dig in just a little bit more into the concept of free work. Because a lot of times people ask me, how can I get into this or that, maybe something that I've done before. And one of the suggestions I make to people is, you do a kick-ass job for free in your quote-unquote free time. And then over time, you can build to where you can charge for that. What, philosophically, I mean, did you at any point question yourself? Because I think it's really natural to question yourself and be like, is this what I should be doing when you're, doing all this work for free?
So, like, actually, when I was talking about how I alluded to the point where, it came to a point where I couldn't go out to open mics all the time. And, when I first started, I got my registration through the state of Ohio. I'm an LLC. And that was the thing. It's like, how did I transition to charging the money, people that were used to me for shooting for free. And that's basically, that's the challenge in itself. It's just trying to, I guess if you just look at it a different attitude and you really make that clear up front with people that have been working with you for over a year, and you just say, and you want to start charging, you say, hey, I'm looking to do this now for, some income, extra income. And most people will say most people will think it's genuine. I mean, I'm not here to, rip the guy off. I'm going to give you a service. And back then I was just a service. Now I look at it as a service plus product.
Makes sense.
Because photos, I mean, this is a whole nother thing. But
tell me more.
So, I kind of just recently, probably in the last year and a half, I spent some time down in Austin, Texas, where you're from.
Well, that's where I live. That's a sensitive topic around there.
Sorry. I was down in Austin, Texas for about 4 months. I just had graduated from the Ohio State University. Yes, the Ohio State University. Okay. And, I didn't really... I kind of wanted to experience somewhere else, living somewhere else. I mean, I love Columbus. I have my clientele base here. But I felt like since I was doing a lot of more music and stuff, my buddy, the musician I was talking about earlier, he actually moved down to Austin.
Okay.
And, he's an audio engineer. And I just felt like I could kind of expand what I do if I go somewhere else, try to meet new people, and I can get my network going there.
Sure.
And after coming back to Ohio, I was only going to give it like 4 months, and I had a great experience, but it just got a little too expensive.
Okay.
But basically, I had every time I go down to Austin, Texas, it's kind of like I get kind of like an attitude adjustment. It's like,
Okay.
what can I do? I kind of like step away from things here, and I kind of think about what can I do be doing better as a business owner,
Okay.
and how can I make my business? How can I make it more profitable with upping the service, the quality of the work, and I felt like I was losing a lot of money on the back end.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So, it used to be where, if I would charge $50 to $60 a band, or for a band to pay for me to come out to the show, I would shoot that band, but also I would shoot the other bands too, just to, the whole building the network thing. But after a while, I realized, they're paying everything up front, but then I'm losing money on the back end because photography, if you look at like a wedding photographer, someone doing senior pictures or something, they're charging for proofs. They're charging for the prints. They're
Right.
charging for all this stuff at the back end. So you're not only, when you pay a photographer, you're paying for a service, but also the product, because they put time and effort into editing the photos
Right.
afterwards. And I would just include that all in, and I still kind of do. But if the band, talking about music, if the bands want to use like my photos for marketing, I used to say, hey, I'll go ahead, just credit me.
Yeah.
Now it's like, well, if you're using my images and you're promoting a show or a tour where you're getting paid, I want a piece of that.
Got it. Interesting.
So, I mean, I'm not asking a lot,
Sure.
but it's just I need something because I put effort into that image.
Right.
And even if they're using one image,
Right.
I still would like compensation. Now,
So it's different
yes.
if they just post it to their Instagram versus if they put or print a poster that's
Yes.
going to end up being their tour
Yes.
poster.
Yes, because the Instagram, the Facebook. I mean, not only they're benefiting from using it because it's content for them, it's also just it's beneficial for me because it's like they're tagging me.
Yeah.
They're promoting me as well, and
Sure.
it's free promotion. But it's like if there's a dollar amount attached to it, like if they're making money off of it, then that's when I step in and say, hey. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not asking a lot.
That makes
It's
sense.
just
When did you make that change, that shift?
about probably the summer of 2016.
Okay. And
Yeah.
would you say that's made a meaningful impact in your profitability and your ability to actually make a living from this?
Yes. I made the changes when I came back a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Or about a year ago, when I was coming back from Texas last year. And I made the change. I was starting to charge for every single band, like the service.
Yep.
And so that I was making money on that. And then I kind of implemented they pay for photos on the back end if
Yeah.
they would want it for promotional purposes.
Sure.
So yes, I did see an increase. I made probably, since I was gone for 4 months in Texas, I didn't make much
Yeah.
when I was in Texas. But when I came back in the summer, last summer,
Yeah.
I made more money in 6 months than I did the previous year combined.
Yeah.
Because I made changes.
That makes sense.
And that's what you got to do to really, that's because I'm still fairly new, like I said. I'm just trying to figure this stuff out.
Makes
so.
sense. Iterate your business model. So that's a perfect seg into something we were talking about right before the show, which is managing your cash flows, right? So as
Yes.
somebody who has works on engagements and gets orders for things, and there's different types of things going on, you probably have to be very mindful of, like, there's times when you make a lot of money and then times when you make no money.
Yes,
And
that's just
if
the nature of
you-
business.
If you assume that you're going to make a lot of money all the time, you probably spend too much and not be able to live. And if you assume that you're going to make nothing, then when you're making nothing, you'll get really depressed and go out of business. So how do you manage that cash and that psychology?
So you hit a nail on the head because this business, even especially like in photography and art, it's an art. Any art, music, painting, photography, video, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And you just never know when work isn't going to be there. So it's one of those things where I take it upon myself to. I even look at shows on Facebook. This kind of goes into like how I get business, but I plan ahead I plan or I schedule, or if I see a gig on Facebook that I see a band playing, I contact them, even if it's like 2 months out.
Okay.
So I know I'll have work out in advance.
So you plan your cash ahead of time by trying to have a steady flow of business. What about, how do you handle it when you have, let's say you make a lot of money on something like Post Austin and then you make no money? Or like, for example, you said you make very little money while you were in Austin. How do you handle that?
So it's basically I basically have no overhead, because since I'm a sole proprietor, the only thing I'm paying on a regular basis is taxes.
Yeah, and rent.
And rent.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things where, just low overhead. I'm like I said, I'm a sole proprietor, so really the only thing I pay for on a regular basis is taxes. But if something were to happen to my equipment, that's the only other expense.
Yeah.
So I keep really good care of my equipment, so I don't really need to.
That makes sense. So that's really important, right? Keeping your expenses low as you ramp up.
Yes.
Because 10 years from now, the quality of your work is spectacular. I think you're going to do very well. And so 10 years from now, that maybe won't be an issue. But now it's something you have to be very mindful of.
Yes, it's one of those things where I'm a person that likes to plan ahead. I don't really. In this business, I'm working with a lot of musicians and stuff, and musicians are. I'm not saying they're all disorganized, but it's just sometimes it's like they'll plan a show probably 2 weeks in advance. Not even, and a lot of people don't book or don't put the same effort promoting themselves. And I as another creative trying to offer you a service, it's hard for me, because it's like I'm trying to schedule as well as give you a service, but I don't know when you're playing, and so I want to try to have that. If bands promote themselves 2 months in advance, I'll reach out to you and say, hey, I'm available because I haven't booked this weekend yet. So. And that's basically, I don't know if
the bottom line is basically keep your nut low, so keep your expenses low, and be proactive about seeking out future cash flows to make sure that you do well with that. That's awesome.
And then, if you don't mind if I say a couple more things about that. And last year as well, when I came back from Austin, I'm still I primarily do music. Okay. That's concert photography, cover local shows and stuff. But I realized if I want to make a living at photography, just can't do music. I can't pigeonhole myself.
Okay.
So because, if you want to make a living off of this, the only people that are really making a living in music photography are like big name acts. They're photographers. They're on tour all the time. They work for the record label. I don't do that. I'm a sole proprietor. So
you don't do that yet.
Yeah, I don't do that yet. So I want, I had to balance it out with, weddings, senior pictures, and I do portraiture stuff. So, it's photography. You can relate any type of photography to the next type of photography.
So be flexible, basically. Don't be too proud about taking gigs that will pay money that maybe are not shooting Robert Palmer.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, on that vein, who were some of the? So you showed me some photos. You shot Robert Palmer, and who are some of the other folks you showed me?
Robert Plant.
Robert Plant. Sorry. Sorry.
That's right. You're right.
Losing it here. So Robert Plant. So tell me more. Who are some of the other folks?
So backing up, I've shot some big acts in Columbus. Okay. I can't really think. Oh, actually, one time Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20 came through Columbus. I wasn't paid for it, but I came out. A radio station was hosting an event. He was on tour. They paid for him to come to Columbus. Had a private show. I shot Rob Thomas. That was fun. I was invited to that.
Cool.
And then let's see. I go down to South by Southwest.
Yeah,
like
you shot. What's Willie Nelson's son?
Lucas Nelson.
Yeah, Lucas Nelson. You shot him.
Shot him. I covered the Austin Music Awards.
Yeah, you sure. Tell me about that. How was
that? This year was my second year covering that at South by Southwest.
Yeah.
Basically, for people out there that don't know, like South by Southwest, probably one of the biggest music festivals in the country. It's an international music festival in Austin, Texas.
Sure thing.
And everybody that's who's who in music and film and interactive come to Austin, Texas for 10 days.
Yeah.
And I was able to get a press pass for an event called the Austin Music Awards, where it was showcasing local local artists in Austin, but as well there were some big names. I mean, the guys that wrote the Stranger Things theme song, they're from Austin.
Yeah.
They got an award. And they have musicians that play throughout the night.
Yeah.
Some big acts. Lucas Nelson.
Yep.
Chrissy Hine from the Pretenders.
Cool.
She was the special guest. They always have a special guest.
Yep.
And the previous year that's when I shot Robert Plant.
Yeah.
So
not Robert Palmer.
not Robert Palmer. No, it's all right.
Awesome. Tell me about a time when things really didn't go well in your business and things were really going south, and how did you deal with that?
So, first example that comes to mind, I think this was. I'm trying to think. Summer of 2015. I recall a time when I was taking on a lot of work, which is good. I was busy for summer, and I didn't have my hard drive plugged in a surge protector. A storm rolled through, and a lightning struck around my neighborhood, and it wiped my hard drive.
Jesus, that's like your worst nightmare, man.
So
that's why. One of my nightmares is that I'm gonna record a podcast that I'm not gonna get the file for. So shit, knock on wood. All right. So how did you deal with that?
So basically, I can't remember exactly how many clients I was working for. I probably had 6 or 7 clients I was working on. A couple of video projects. I mean, the video takes me longer, so I was working it as it was going, and I was literally about to do the backups like the next day. And it just happened that night, a storm rolled through. I didn't have my external hard drive plugged into a surge protector, and it wiped every single client that I was working on, the 6 clients.
Jesus.
And so what I did was I felt awful. I mean, it's one of those things where it's like it's one of those things that just happens, and you just have to own up to your mistake. So what I did was I called all the clients, and I offered, hey, I would love. I mean, this is what happened. I feel awful. Your stuff was lost in a storm, and I want to make it up to you. And I first offered the money back, and 5 of the 6, they did not want their money back because they felt like my time is worth something, and they all said it was. They all said that we value what you do. And, if there's something that we can do in the future, we're going to come to you still. And you don't have to pay us back. But it's just one of those things where I just needed to get out there and let them know I am genuinely.
Those must have been some hard conversations.
Those were some hard conversations. And they were, most of them were on the phone because I wanted to tell them as soon as it happened.
Right.
So, and then only one person wanted their money back. And which is totally acceptable.
Yeah.
But then I said to every single person, I want to make it up to them. So I'm actually on good terms with all those clients are returning clients still.
Wow.
And they love my work and continue doing what I love.
So that's really good. Being proactive and owning your failures as soon as possible. It's
exactly.
One of my mentors, Ben Horowitz, says that if you're gonna eat shit, don't nibble. Basically, just go and go for it and accept your mistakes and go for it and keep going forward.
Exactly. Keep going forward.
That's awesome. Cool. I'll take that. So I was going to ask you what's been your number one business lesson or advice, but I think that's a pretty damn good one. So
that is a pretty good one.
maybe we'll run with that one. Awesome. Where do you see your business going the next 10 years? So you're 3 years in. You're building your reputation. You're building your work. Yes. You continue to hone your craft. Where do you see yourself going in 10 years?
So in 10 years, I'm approaching, this will be 3 years coming up. Yeah. And, I just continue to do what I love, and I want to continue getting my music clients. I want to travel more. I went on my first tour in November.
Yeah.
And I want to go on more tours with bands.
Who's toured?
The band was called the Andy Shaw Band. They're a local band here in Columbus.
Great.
And they've been around for about 10 years now, but, they wanted to go on tour, and they asked me to go with them.
Cool.
And so I got a great experience out of that. So basically, I see myself working with continue to work with more musicians, and I want to tour, I want to travel. I get the travel bug a lot, and
be careful what you wish for. It sounds awesome, but there's times when it gets to be a lot. But it's amazing. Don't get me wrong.
And so in 10 years, I see myself. I'm making a profit at what I do. I have diversified my client base, because now I'm not just working with musicians. I have weddings in the background. I have senior pictures. I continually put out ads on Facebook, and I really try to reach as many people as I can. And in 10 years, I see myself, I'm going to have a really strong, really strong client base.
That's awesome. I mean, I love your attitude and optimism, and I think that's really what it takes a lot of times, is continuing to put a smile on the face of whether things are good or bad. So
sweet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's it like to do business in Columbus? Maybe for some folks today is my second day here. I'm about to head out to Cincinnati. What's it like to do business here? And what maybe in terms of the government and in terms of the other small business people?
So, great question. Columbus, it's been my home for ever since I can remember. The last 23 years, it's been my home. And Columbus has a great artistic scene, like I mentioned earlier, like music, art. So a place like this, it's really good for a person like me, because I'm a creative, I'm a business owner as well, and Columbus is a great place to do both, because we have such a great arts community. We have Ohio State University is here, so college town. Like to do business in town, there's so many different types of people that live here. It's just clients pop up all the time. I get messages from people that want engagement photos. I mean, it's like there's a suburb in Columbus where there's some people that referred me, and I get a couple people, they recognize the place I shoot, and they're like, hey, can you do my engagement? So it's just a lot of times Columbus is, it's not like Chicago, it's not like New York, it's not as big. It's smaller than Austin, actually. But it seems like everybody's connected somehow.
Yeah, and there's a university, so it's like there's fresh energy coming in all the time,
fresh,
and
always.
There's also this really good creative energy. How about the government? Have you dealt with them at all?
Not really. I've taken pictures of like the mayor and stuff.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so nothing.
What's the mayor's name?
Andy Ginther.
Andy, if you're listening.
Yes.
Yeah, you're the man.
There we go. But no, it's I haven't really dealt with the government that much. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a legit business. I pay taxes, so that's my interaction with the government.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you want our audience to know about you or your business? What are your social media handles? Where can people find you?
So people can find me. I want to send you to my website at www.mitchellmultimedia.com.
Okay.
You can also find me. I'm a heavy user. I post a lot of my photos on Facebook.
Okay.
And I'm also an avid user of Instagram. And my Instagram handle is at Mitchell _multimedia.
Yep.
And it's Mitchell with 2 L's, if people out there were wondering.
Cool.
So.
Awesome. Well, I am half excited, half terrified to see the photos that you shot of me last night, and it's been a real honor and a pleasure to sit down with you to learn more about your business, and best of luck to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you for listening to Small Business War Stories. If you enjoy the show, share it with a friend, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or on our blog at blog.proven.com. If you have an idea for us, we'd love to hear it. Please email us at podcast@proven.com. See you next time. Small Business War Stories. Small businesses are the soul of America. And this is where they tell their stories. I am your host, Pablo Fuentes.